you do that? How did you do that?
Hey man, it's nice to hear from you again.
How you doing, Jeremy?
Good, good. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation as well. Much appreciated.
Yeah, no, we're always excited to get to show stuff off. You want to send us via Skype your character or account, and we'll get you an invite?
Yeah, sure. 1 second.
That would have been my guess.
That's exactly right.
Cool, we'll have you an invite. Yeah, hop over and join us, and then while you are zoning in, I will give you kind of the broad strokes.
Okay, I'm in. No.
All right, cool. So yeah, join us. So this is Murkmire. This is a new zone. It is similar in size and scope to the Clockwork City or the Gold Coast. It's got a roughly 8 to 10 hour zone story, 2 objectives, 2 delves, 2 group bosses, a bunch of independent content quests, and 3 sets of dailies. The zone story focuses on a treasure hunt for a fabled Argonian relic known as the Remnant of Argon. And then most of the other content, we try to focus more on the Argonians as a culture. We have a new leaderboard arena, Black Rose Prison, which is turning out pretty awesome. We'll run past it, and I'll give you some more details at that point. There you are. We have new changes to ESO Plus. The most notable is we're going to have a new section in the Crown Store for ESO Plus members. You'll be able to get some free unique items of the flavor variety come to know and love, like pets and hats and cool stuff like that, as well as discounts on Crown Store items. And then I'm not sure if you've heard, but we're also increasing our monthly stipend to 1,650 crowns a month. Yes. So you get a little more digital bang for your real bucks. And then in PvP and Cyrodiil, we've added destructible mile gates and bridges. So basically, any alliance can siege or repair a mile gate or a bridge, and if somebody blows up a bridge and then stands there and blocks your way, you can either go around or fight them for it and repair it. I think this is going to be something that's going to be pretty cool, and it certainly gives people a lot more control over flow in the zone. For clarification, the structures aren't owned, so you don't get points or AP for capturing or repairing them. We've also added a few additional outposts so that all alliances have an equal number of attack and defense points. We think that's going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to seeing what people do with it. Those are kind of the broad strokes. There's a few little things, but I think I should turn it over to Ed and let him do the virtual tour guide thing through Lilmoth and ultimately Murkmire.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to do a little tour guide thing, so just follow my footsteps. If I start talking too fast, or I'm moving too fast, or there's something you want to see, please feel free to interrupt, ask questions, break in. Jeremy's there to help me slow down, because I'm just excited to show this area off. We've been working on it for a year, and we just launched yesterday, so yay! All right, so welcome to Lilmoth, the festering jewel of Black Marsh. That's what the Argonians call it, not me. It is a very cosmopolitan city as far as Murkmire goes. There are lots of different races represented here. As a player, you would show up either here at the Way Shrine or down here by the harbor. You'll notice that the Lilmoth harbor has lots of little sloops and coastal cutters as opposed to the big tall ships we're used to seeing in other cities. Mm-hmm. Well, that's because Black Marsh's borders, its coastline is very fluid, for lack of a better term. At any given time, this area could be completely underwater, or it could be dried out. So the Argonians had adapted. They built their city, They built their city further away from the coastline so that they wouldn't end out in the middle of the ocean. As you can see away to the south, there's still some ruined buildings that were probably part of an earlier version of Lilmoth. And way off to the southeast, there's a tall ship out at the ocean that these little sloops can rendezvous with. But hey, we're going to stick in Lilmoth for a little bit. I want to show you some of the other architectural wonders. Lilmoth is an ancient city. It was built by a group of fox people called the Lilmothi, but the Argonians took it over after they kind of disappeared. And in the meantime, other people have been trying to take it over, and Black Marsh in general. Imperials invaded several times. You can see over here to our right ruins of a Imperial wall. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons, well, two of the reasons that the Imperials have had a hard time invading was first, Argonians are really great guerrilla fighters. They can live in the swamp. They can breathe underwater. So if things got too tough, they'd just dive down deep and wait for the invaders to go away. Second is Murkmire itself. As you can see from this building, the Imperials built this to be a big, strong house, possibly even a fort or headquarters. Well, it just sank into the swamp. And over here, they got another building. This one probably caught fire, then sank into the swamp. Gotcha. Just horrible things happen to people who try and take over Black Marsh, and it's because the marsh itself is really good at defending itself. But over here toward the west, we see that the Argonians, however, have a better philosophy on how to build. They've got buildings made out of wood and thatch, and they're not expected to last, generations, maybe just a couple of years before they have to rebuild. They'll probably move on by then anyway. They built these nice stilt huts, or stick huts as we call them, that'll keep them out of the way of the water. They still revere some of their old stuff, though, like here is a shrine of Sithis. You can find these scattered throughout the zone. Basically, the Argonians look at Sithis as a god of change rather than death, and so they still revere Sithis while they are more in tune with the Hist and its wonders. This inn over here, which obviously built to be rebuilt if the water comes in, has a nice little open courtyard. Here we get to see an Argonian bard. This is our first... Yeah.
I think you just
like
saw
that?
the coolest
Oh,
bit.
tell them about that before I go and launch into the bard story. Yeah, they're playing a bard instrument called the Vossasodal. Jeremy?
We actually went through a lot of iterations on this before we kind of came.
Frogs in it.
Yep.
Exactly. We like to say, and we have poked at the audio team, that they spent several weeks squeezing frogs to get just the right balance out of it. Actually, we have an independent content quest that is actually featured also, where you are collecting the frogs to create your own Vossasodal.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is our first opportunity to show the Argonians at home. I mean, in Shadowfen, that was an Argonian-based zone, but they were under siege. I mean, the three faction war was going on there. All the alliances were present. Here, we're in the very southern tip of Black Marsh. The alliance war really hasn't touched this very strongly, and so we get to see the Argonians, what they're like in their own homeland, what they're like when nobody else is around. That bard is just one example. I think we've got like 6 or 7 bard songs for them. We've got different storytellers. And as you can see, we've got to branch out and show different architecture. Not just the little mud huts in Shadowfen, but these rather impressive big stilt buildings.
These are very similar to what was on the island.
Yes. Well, that was built as the Murkmire teaser, so we wanted to show it off. Also, speaking of stuff similar to the teaser, we do have the ancient Argonian structures like these pillars. You can see the Argonians somehow figured out how to build stone and have it not settle in the swamp. And they are still willing to use this stuff even though they no longer build in stone.
Do they have a specific way of managing the foundations as far as their stone is concerned in comparison to the Imperial?
Well, you'll have to ask an Argonian. I don't know.
Do that.
No, my guess
Jeremy,
is...
come over here, tell me.
Yeah. So actually, my guess is based on what our fixture team has told me. They try and come up with stuff that makes sense. They don't just.
Yeah, of course.
And I think a big thing that the Argonians do is they sink their stone structures so deep into the swamp that they actually touch firm ground. So it's kind of like when you have to build, a dock or something in the water. I used to do that as a landscaper, and you had to sink the pylons really deep to get down to firm ground. I bet that's what the Argonians do, but like I said, I don't know for sure.
It's like when you're putting up a really thick garden fence, you make sure that they stick really deep into the ground, so if it flaps in the wind, it doesn't come down.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is, they no longer really build structures like this. This was in the past. The modern Argonian, or modern in our time, of course, it makes less permanent structures.
Yeah,
they're more. They're more mobile, nomadic, but that's
what I was.
They're not exactly nomads.
They are less fixated on permanence. All of their belongings are meant to be what you need now, what you need in the near future, not what you need 10, 20, 30 years from now. They'll build something, they'll find something, they'll adapt.
Are they nomadic by choice, or is it the case of the swamp has deteriorated over time?
For them, it's more so. In this area, it's probably more by choice, and not always necessarily the Argonians' choice. Remember, they worship the Hist. They follow the teachings of their histories. So their trees will say, "Hey, the hunting isn't good over here anymore. Let's move it over there." Or, "I need you to be over here, and I'm not even going to tell you why." So the Argonians will move around. They still center around their history, of course, but. Yeah. Oh, hey, I did want to call out something. We're in what we think of as Region 1, or the coastal region of Murkmire. As you can see, the underbrush is fairly thick, but the trees are small. We've got a lot of these sort of South American, South Asian mangrove-style trees. It's very open. It's very foggy, and of course it's raining right now. Mm-hmm. But as you can see, it's not very dark or dense or murky. That's going to change as we get further north. Oh, hey.
Sky Shard.
Oh, yes, Sky Shard.
Well, Sky Shard, too. We have lots of things for you to do. This is actually a lore location. We shortened it to Ixath, but this is actually a lore location that we know that was right next to Lilmoth. And when we were looking for a place to hold one of our first zone stories, we thought it was the perfect thing. So you'll want here, and we won't go in now, but and this will be kind of an Indiana Jones style pyramid romp, if you will.
Gotcha.
We really wanted the main story to be very Argonian, but we always reasoned we had to have an on-ramp because, again, the first time we're really telling a big Argonian story, we know that a lot of players aren't necessarily Argonian lore heads.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure there was a nice on-ramp, and the sort of archaeology, Indiana Jones adventure type story really felt good, but you very quickly get into learning more about Argonians and what things are like for them as you go along.
Okay. Like discovering an ancient race as such if you're not part of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we try to do is when we are creating characters, make sure we had characters that were both representative or could ask the right questions in the case of Famia, for example. So you as the player don't have to ask all the dumb questions. If you crouch here, this is actually one of the new features that we have here. This is a scuttle bloom. This is the one kind of friendly plant we have, but this is sort of how we did plants and environmental hazards in this zone. You can actually come up close to this scuttle bloom and you can interact with it. If you don't sneak up to it, it turtles up, and then you can't do it. But in this case, you can actually grab crafting resources from it. So this is just kind of a cool little thing that we decided when we were looking at this zone, they wouldn't use your classic traps. They're not going to be a bear trap because it would either rot or sink or rust.
Sure.
So we said, what they would use would be plants. So we built like a half dozen different environmental plant hazards instead. That is the only friendly one. Every other one does mean things to you if you don't sneak up on it properly. And then much like a trap, you actually can incapacitate them for like 30 seconds.
I see. I've seen a couple of strangler-looking ones that explode.
Oh yeah, huh? Yeah, we'll show you a few of them as we're going through.
Nice.
Speaking of lore locations, this is another one. I don't know how familiar you are with Elder Scrolls Arena, but
not very familiar with Arena.
Okay, well, in Arena, you visit a lot of different cities, and of course, that's about 700 to 1,000 years in our future.
Yeah.
One of the cities in Blackmarsh is called Altenmere Hall. Well, this is Altenmere Hleal, and it's roughly on the location of Altenmere Hall, and right now it's just a little trading post. Players, NPCs use this as a stop along the river as they venture into Region 2, or the darker region of Murkmire. Mm-hmm. They can re-equip, they can sell off their goods, but then they head into a darker, more dangerous area. Before they do that, though, they get a little opportunity for entertainment. Argonians are known to play really strange, unusual games, and there's an arena over here where they play a game that I call Hip and Tail Ball, but Jeremy knows the actual Argonian name.
Tiba Inu.
Okay.
Tiba Inu is like it's like a cross between football, rugby, and some sort of audience participation rave. During the main quest, you actually get to visit here and hear one of the NPCs talk about the rules, and I guarantee you will be more confused once you leave.
Okay.
And we're not sure either.
Yeah.
So speaking of, you'll see there's actually 2 critters here that are new critters, and Ed and I have argued about whether or not they are the ball in the game or not.
Oh,
but
nice.
these are the mudhoppers. It's kind of like this catfish, iguana-looking thing.
Yeah.
I think they turned out really cool, and they fit the very alien lifestyle that we were going for, vibe. We probably made, I guess, a half dozen new monsters for this.
Yeah, at least, yeah. Well, probably even more counting the critters. These guys are pretty cute, though. They're one of the few things in Murkmire that isn't trying to kill you.
Based on the fact that this is obviously quite unique, is this, you probably can't even tell me, is this likely to be something that we'd end up getting as a memento or something like that?
Oh, the fish?
No, the kicking of the ball.
Yes, I believe they're working on something like that. I can't
Nice.
say for sure, because that's under the Crown Store and we're content, but
Sure.
I know it's been talked about. I would like to see it. I think the best thing to do is for people to ask for it, because then they work on it.
Okay, I'm asking for it.
Yeah, it looks cool. As soon as we saw it,
Yeah,
we're
it
like,
does.
yeah, okay. And you're right. It would be cool if you got it as a memento for completing a quest or something, so you could whip the ball out and do some cool little soccer maneuvers or Tiba Inu. And someday we would like to maybe flesh that out a bit more. I'm failing to find my way around.
Jared, I was going to say, you're running
about knockwings, did we?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
I'm trying to avoid it. So this is a single one. This is actually a pack creature. I kind of think of these like the little lizards out of Jurassic Park. You see just one and it's super cute, and then like a dozen of his little buddies show up, and you're like, holy crap! So they're little things, but they hunt in packs. So typically you will see them in a group of 3 or more.
Okay.
And then, of course, what swamp would be complete without crocodiles?
Yeah.
Or mosquitoes, for that matter.
Oh, yes, you had... When did you put them in? They were in Mazatan, I believe, as well. Around that sort of time, where you kill one and then they burst into loads of little ones.
They
you'll
drive
probably
me freaking nuts.
you'll probably recognize the Wamasu over here.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I've been killed by a few as well.
Yeah, normally they're boss monsters, but we've actually got them creeping around here. You notice also the trees have gotten bigger and darker, and the fog plane is more close. That's because we're further inland. We're in, sort of the second region. If you crouch down here, by the way, that lantern mantis, see, is glowing. Hey, let me trigger it so you can see what happens if it's bad. If you don't sneak up on it. Stab me, knock me back a little bit. If I was fighting the Wamasu at that time, that would be a problem.
Yeah,
It got you too, didn't it? Or alternatively, you can sneak up and incapacitate it. So if you're dealing with a pull that you're worried about, you would sneak up. You got to crouch to do it.
You did about 4k damage. If you're low health, yeah, you're right. If you're low health fighting this thing, that's going to kill you. Whoops.
Exactly, yeah. And our encounter designers did a really good job of placing them in such a way so you really got to pay attention to your pulls because you're liable to run into it. One thing you're probably seeing is you'll actually see the radial tell around it now that you're fighting the monster.
Yes, I did. This is sort of a big circle.
Yep. Yes. While we don't mind that you have to deal with it, we don't want you to feel cheated, like you're knocked into it. So I make it a little easier.
And I just incapacitated it. It'll come back in about 30 seconds, just like any other trap.
Oh, so they keep getting back up.
Yep. Yeah, you can't kill those because they're not monsters.
Gotcha. So no XP, no loot, no nothing like that.
Well, we do have an achievement related to you finding and incapacitating all of them.
Oh,
just so you learn about the Murkmire. Oh, one of the other creatures of Murkmire is the deadly swamp jelly. It will hover there. It will loom. It watches you. It knows what you're doing. That's pretty much all it does.
Oh, there's an achievement, Swamp Jelly Collector.
Yep.
Actually, Ed wrote a quest about it, and I think if you complete daily quests, For the teaser, you can actually get your own. I'm sure they will source them in other ways as well. Should we wander towards the Fen Necromancer?
Yes. So one of the things we've talked about is we like to tell the story of Murkmire and the Argonians without necessarily being explicitly all quest related. We want the player who just wants to explore to have some interesting encounters that are still informative. One of the things we tried to do with our world bosses, the first of which is the Fen Necromancer, is we wanted to say how that relates to the rest of the zone. In this case, as I mentioned before, the Argonians are very in tune with the Hist. The Hist defines how they live their lives, but also how they die. When an Argonian dies, they believe that their spirit gets taken into their history and they get reincarnated. So the idea of necromancy is something that's abhorrent to them. And this is the Fen Necromancer, Boxalt Ga. And basically, he's going around, he's stealing Argonian bodies, and he's basically trapping their spirits and making them his servants. Argonians have a way of keeping from becoming undead using these grave stakes. They look kind of like totem poles, because the Argonians carve the story of their lives on these grave stakes, and when they die, their corpses are planted in the swamp and staked down to keep them from coming back. Unfortunately, the Necromancer has stolen the grave stakes and has turned them into undead.
Gotcha.
So this is a world boss. It's balanced for 4 people. We could give it a try, but I have a feeling we'd get our heads kicked in.
We can do
And
it.
even if we didn't, it would take quite a bit of time. But
Do you want to give it a shot? We can poke at it real quick.
Let me
Yeah,
get
if you like.
corrosive. Let me get corrosive. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take a look. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So this is one of the 2. It's also the. He was actually not quite ready.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
No, you're good.
It is a pug experience. There you have it. So yeah, this is also the focus of some of our dailies.
Can I change my ultimate? No, I can't. Oh, you did that, didn't you? You can't change stuff in combat.
Right. Nope. Exactly. That's what I was saying. You weren't quite ready.
All right.
That's okay. We'll
Okay.
work with it.
Well, we obviously beat him anyway, right? Oh, wait.
No.
He's back. See, he uses these grave stakes not only to power his ritual, but to keep himself alive when you start to beat him. The encounter team did a nice job setting this up so some players have to keep the ad, and some players have to keep managing the DPS.
Gotcha.
With all of our content, we try and release a little something for everybody. So
Yeah, of course.
The main focus of this zone is more for single player or balanced towards single player. We always want to make sure there's at least something.
Yeah.
So we've got these, and I think there's like 6 dailies that are that work with these bosses as well. And then there's the new arena as well.
Whoops, wrong button. Boss time.
Here we are. Oh, I was.
Don't die. No.
I was me. I'm sorry. I was paying attention. I was like, wait, we actually made it to the DPS phase. We've shown a number of people that haven't actually gotten this far in general.
I've got no steel tornado. Damn it.
That's fine. You get to see what he does. We don't necessarily have to defeat him. Yeah, this is one of the 2.
God, is there enough ads?
We'll see. Maybe not enough.
The good thing is though, because they're all undead, you get a lot of ulti back really fast.
Yeah. We're organized. You just gotta.
My problem is my dodge roll isn't enabled on this keyboard.
But that doesn't help.
No.
That's the problem with playing in focus tests. You may not have been the last person that was playing.
Did someone mess with your setup?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's, we're not playing at our normal computers, and this one is set up. I'm using mouse and keyboard because it's easier for me to navigate to the zone, and it's set up for controller.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're in. But we're focus testing.
We can be honest. We're all friends here. Finn messed with your system, didn't he?
It is likely. He certainly sits at this.
Oh, we've got one of our designers. He's used to the very old, not WASD keyboard,
Oh, yeah.
but so he goes in and he changes all of them with that. And so anybody who comes in behind him is like, "What's going on?"
Oh, no way.
I'm actually a lefty, so when I set my keyboard up, then yeah, it ends up being pretty ugly. That's almost why I always use the controller. It's just easier. Just pick up the controller and bam.
I use a controller for all platforms, just because since I'm on all the same, I'm on 6 different servers, but because I'm on loads of different ones, there's no point me changing my controls for every single one.
That
So I just
makes
use
good
the PS4
sense.
format for everything.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm Xbox, but yeah, same deal.
Yeah, yours you can plug straight in, can't you? But mine I have to have a program for it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna get this guy.
Oh yeah, we are. Eat it.
Oh, well.
Oh, I died.
Man, I can't believe
Did you die right before
I
we?
did at the very last second. He was trying to use me to raise himself.
I
have acquired
I'm
it.
not opening it. I don't want to open a Plunder Skull on PTS. I'm going to get something I need on my main server.
Yes, that's really funny. Yeah, I can't help it. I still loot. All right, let's move on.
Sure.
Okay, well, so anyway, after dealing with the Fen Necromancer, our party heads towards Deadwater, the one of the tribes, but we're going to stop by Black Rose Prison first. In the meantime, it might be a little anticlimactic, but there's this really cute, monster we came up with, you probably saw in the teaser, called the Bog Blight.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are swamp zombies. They're stuffed full of swamp gas, so sometimes they explode, like that guy. They can all fire poisonous, flaming balls.
And if you look at my character, there's a bog blight here that was staked down properly, so he can't actually get out. So he just pops up and then ineptly explodes.
Oh, nice.
It's the little things, but our encounter designers just did a really good job of setting up little small vignettes and situations like that. Where we were heading towards, right there, you go.
Yeah. So I was going to swing by Black Rose Prison. I don't think despite our success in the against the world boss, I don't think we have time to really go through one of the arenas. But Jeremy can tell you about. How did you guys get attacked again?
Be a bog blight.
Jeremy's got some friends.
That's right.
Running blithely along.
Trying to give you the accurate experience. Here you go. You can see Black Rose right there in front of us. This is Black Rose Prison. It is our new 4-person arena. It is playable in normal and veteran modes. Normal is, of course, balanced more towards your average player, and veteran is more towards your much more experienced player. It is a leaderboard arena, so there is as we go in and take a quick gander at the antechamber, but I don't want to go any further. Yes, it was created by the Akaviri in the early Second Era, and we're kind of in the mid towards end of the Second Era, and run by the Imperials until they got tired of all their stuff sinking in the swamp, at which point the dangerous criminals that had been housed there, the Blackguards, took over, and now they run it as sort of it's their home base. So you come in and you can challenge them in 4-person arena style to competition to defeat them. And what it is there are 5 cell blocks, and fictionally you'll go through each cell block and completing 1 arena in each. They get more and more difficult. There's also new arena weapons, similar to your Dragonstar or Maelstrom weapons, more geared towards kind of group endgame stuff. And that's mostly it. But yeah, if you see, it's kind of a cool, like, abandoned prison yard look, and as you go in, you'll go down a set of stairs, and then you walk into the first cell block, and then the doors shut behind you, and they start saying nasty stuff, and people jump out and try and whoop your behind.
I like the Black Rose Arena because it is, compared to a lot of our other stuff, a sort of shorter experience. I mean, you only have to go through essentially 5 challenges.
Whereas DSA
but
is
then
a
you
lot
can do it
longer.
over and over again because there's so many different ways to score achievements and rewards. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
And there's also some additional, or I should say, new power-ups. Like there's now one that allows you to resurrect your teammates. So if you find you're about to experience a wipe, you can actually do something about it. And naturally, as with the rest of the arenas, you get more points if you don't use the power-ups. But of course, power-up makes the difference between completing and not. You know, that's kind of
Yeah.
where you're running. So let's not go any further. Before we go out, if you'll look, my character is wearing the new light armor, which is called the Bright Throat's Boast. And if you have the 5-piece bonus, then drinks, Magicka drinks will increase your max Magicka and recovery time. And then Ed is wearing the heavy armor known as the Champion of the Hist. And it grants you minor heroism with the 5-piece bonus, which allows you to generate ultimate quicker.
Gotcha.
And then the not pictured, Deadwater's Guile is the medium armor set. And if you kill an enemy within 2 seconds, assuming the 5-piece bonus, you'll get increased armor or ultimate generation. So those are kind of our 3 sets, and they're sourced in pretty much all the content: group bosses, the quests, the chests, the boss drops and whatnot. Shall we wander out?
Sure.
oh, by the way, just from playing yesterday on live, I'm almost got a complete set of Bright Throat's Boast
Yeah,
for my Dragon Knight.
of course.
Come on, man!
It's like the Bone Pirate, isn't it? But for Magicka.
Yes. Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I will be trading with people.
So yeah, we're pretty excited about
Yeah.
the arena. I think people are going to have a good time with it. It would be cool to see how well people do. I understand people completed it within like the first hour.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
tried the,
Mike Finnegan was just...
Oh, I
he's
saw
like-
that.
Mind you, they were practicing for a long
Yeah, they
time,
were.
so I'm going to give them their props. But yeah, to be honest, I always vote for my dungeon.
Of
Yep.
course.
So, so anyway, we're heading up towards the Deadwater. I had mentioned, I think before, in Black Marsh, there are literally dozens of Argonian tribes. Now, Murkmire being a DLC, we can't show you everybody that we'd like, but we do introduce about individuals from about 6 different tribes, but then we focused on 2 tribes to have...
Catapult cabbage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, show off the catapult cabbage.
It missed me.
Oh, it,
So if you get the wrong side, it actually launches you back and stuns you for a quick
yeah,
second.
there's another one up here I can trigger. But anyway, we want... Oh, here's the bear lizard.
Oh, that's cool.
Aptly named.
That's the map, isn't it?
No, this is a combat creature.
No, I mean like the very similar to the mount that you get. Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
It
It
is. Yep, you're right.
Not
Very
the
similar.
one you get with the collectors, I don't think.
There.
Nice.
I saw a
knocked
preview of it. I'm pretty sure that was similar to that. Did you
Yeah,
get flung?
I believe you were right. Yeah. He got flung backwards. It basically flings you backwards like 10 feet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that could make a big difference if you were
Yeah,
say,
well-
fighting a group of 3 or 4
Wait.
hackers.
A bunch of hacklings up there. Here, I'll do it again. So,
How nice it launched.
I love them. So the Naga, the Deadwater tribe, are made up of a subspecies of Argonian called the Naga. So we definitely wanted to show them off. They never appeared in an Elder Scrolls game before, although they have been referred to. And the other major tribe that we're showing off in Murkmire is called the Bright Throats. We're not going to go visit them today.
Okay.
The Bright Throats are very diplomatic, very friendly. Some would call them con artists, whereas the Deadwater are very militaristic. They're very strong. They believe that they need to fight to survive in Murkmire. And their history, as you can see when you look up, is big and stocky and strong looking. And they've built their village in the ruins of these ancient Zanmirs to try and be almost like a fortress.
Mhm.
But as a result of their philosophy, they've become kind of isolationist, almost xenophobic. They won't attack strangers on sight, but they don't like you, and they'll let you know that. They don't even like other Argonians very much. If you look closely at their features, you can see that the Naga have slightly different features than most Argonians. They're
Stubby noses.
stubby noses. They're a little toad or tadpole-like. Some of them have fish-like fins. Here's some of the Naga training for war. Now, not all Naga are Deadwater. In fact, some of them are mixed in with the Blackguards. But all Deadwater tribesmen are Naga. But as a result of their isolationism and their warlike nature, they've run into some other problems. As a player, when you come in here to do the objective quest or as part of the main quest, because you become friends with one of the members of the tribe, you have to figure out what their problem is and help them solve it. Because one of the symptoms of their problem is you've got this really big village with this really nice stone structure and a history right in the center of it. But when we come through this underpass, we notice that this part is overgrown. There are no Naga living up here. In fact, they've got guards trying to keep the wilderness out. So something is wrong with whatever they're doing and how they're doing it. And it's not this static feature
subject
fault.
of a good objective quest.
Yep.
Oi.
Yep.
Oh, that's quite nasty.
Yeah.
I know you've probably been asked this before, and I'm sure there were millions of questions about it when the live show went up. But you have some people over there that have been built with a certain animation and a certain weapon. Do you have any plans for using those in the future? You know,
Bows? We use bows now.
It is something that the instant we saw it came up.
Yep.
So I will say that we are interested. I cannot speak to whether or not we will do it anytime soon.
I know you like to get people's feedback and stuff, but also generally if you use something, you'll use it again.
Well, I would say that just like anything else, the more people ask for something, the more it'll get considered.
Okay, so we want the football memento and we want spears. That's two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta set up a petition.
And it's
but
definitely
yeah, it's something that we were definitely interested in. As soon as we saw it, I was like, that's really cool.
But it made total sense because we really couldn't see the Naga doing, fly fishing.
Yeah, of course.
But we're like, they got to fish, so what are they going to do? And so we said, well, we got to do it. Hey, speaking of cool things.
So if we were going to do only one monster, this is the one that I wanted to do. This is the Plasm, and I'm not talking about the skeleton thing. I'm talking about the big booger-looking thing.
Blood-looking thing.
Exactly. It is kind of like the blob. It can exude little bits of itself, which then run off and also beat you. It can spit out little snot globules at you. It can poke you with its little pointy protuberances. If you get trapped inside its jello mold of goodness, it can stun you for a little bit. Fictionally, you'll see it's got these little skeleton buddy things. The idea is that if it kills another monster, it feasts on the flesh and then replaces the flesh with its green phlegmy bits.
Okay.
And then reanimates them. That does not actually happen to players, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think they just turned out really cool, and they ended up causing. We went through a lot of rounds of iteration, I should say. One of the things that we didn't think about is, hey, we built this area that is completely comprised of water, and now we have this snotty thing that is also somewhat translucent. How can we make them look good together? So we actually spent a little bit of tech time to solve those problems. But yeah, I just think they turned out so cool, and they're so different from the way they move.
Yeah.
They are also the subject of one of our delve quests, was it Sophir
Cavern. We have two delves, just like other DLC. One is Sophir Cavern, the other is called Teeth of Sithis. And Sophir Cavern, yeah. You get to find out more about the Plasm and its history and what its effect on the world is. And I think it's just a fun series of adventures in there. There's a bunch of daily quests involved with it. Oh, hey, here's an Argonian behemoth just wandering
really like
around.
seeing these roaming around.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? We were like, they've got to be here. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we have stuff like trolls and everything, but we're just like, this is their home. This is where they're from.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, here's one of those scuttle blooms, and now you can see how it turtles up. You guys are over there.
You get a boost for that too, don't you?
Yep, you get a speed boost.
Yeah, it's a cool little idea that the systems team came up with. So in addition to collecting things, you'll actually get a little boost. So you could kind of boost from bloom to bloom, so to speak, if you were more into crafting as opposed to just running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's juvenile, but I love those little bits.
So we have a little time left. I was going to show you a couple of our world builders' best. The world builders did a terrific job. As you can see, We're now in region 3. It's darker.
Dense.
We're on a road right now, but the trees are mostly much closer together.
Yeah.
It's still a swamp, but it's more like almost like a rainforest in a lot of ways. As things get more dense. Our world builders did a wonderful job, changing up the different zones. Making them look different. I jumped on my mount here since we're on a road. Oh, you'll notice that also most of the water in here is pathable. You don't end up getting kicked off your mount.
Sunk.
Yeah.
Horse falls
I
off.
thought that was important,
Yeah.
both from a realism standpoint and a gameplay standpoint. But I'm leading you up to one of the places our world builders put together. When we do delves, usually the designers come up with an idea for a quest, and then we design the world around it.
Okay.
This one worked the other way around. Our world builders said, well, what if we take a couple of Xanmirs and then link them together? And that's what they did. If you look at this waterfall and you look up, there are 2 Xanmirs. This is the Teeth of Sithis. They're linked by that rope bridge. You go in through this cave mouth down here, climb up through the mountain, go up through one of the Xanmirs, cross the rope bridge, down the other one, and that's all part of the delve quest and the various dailies.
Oh.
I think they did an outstanding job, because that's all an interior once you get in it.
And then when you get to the top, of course, you can turn around and you can see all of Murkmire spreading out behind you.
It's pretty awesome, because most delves are kind of, here's the door, go in, whereas you can see the whole structure of it from the outside.
We love that flow. It looks so cool.
Yeah. Then over here, just because they didn't want to be outdone by just doing cool Xanmirs, we have one of our weirdest artifacts of the zone.
I was going to ask
you look
about
up
that,
this
but I waited
tree.
till you got there.
Yeah. The ship in the tree. It's an Imperial vessel. We don't know how it got there. You have to go up. You can actually go inside of it. You can talk to some people about it. You can find some books about it. But yeah, it's Dominus Fatum, the Master of Fate. It's kind of weird.
Flood story or anything like that?
We didn't do a big quest about it. We wanted to make sure there were things in Murkmire that were just exploration for the sake of exploration, like the Dominus Fatum, like a few more of our POIs.
Okay.
The player can get rewarded just for wandering around the zone, not necessarily doing quests.
But you can get up into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you would. If we go further along, and your zone story will push you that way, you'll go through a cave and you'll end up in this area above where you see all the waterfalls.
Yeah.
And then you can actually walk right out onto it and then look out over the rest of Murkmire. Yeah, that's one of the things that we've done is through the zone story, you kind of get like 3/4 of the way through and you kind of break out into one more area.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And in fact, that's kind of a good segue to our last bit.
That is true. How about we jump to the new manor, Lakemire Xanmir Manor?
This is the player housing.
So if you hit M, you'll see the manor is right above you, and then let's jump into it. You'll be in preview mode, so we're going to be looking at different things, but we can still kind of talk you through it. So we had already had this plan to have this cool reveal where you walk out and then you see this big lake and then a Xanmir set in it. And then when our world builder, Charlie Shenton, put it together, we looked at it and we said, that's got to be the player house. He said, it's just this really cool thing. And then we talked to the housing team and they totally embraced the idea. So we kind of worked with them to get it done. Are you loaded in?
I'm in, yeah. Do you want me to buy it and then you can travel in? Or do you want me to just walk around while you explain?
No, that's okay.
It's all right. We'll show it to you pretty quickly. If you go straight forward, right-ish, there's a little stairwell and then a door.
Yep.
You go in there. One of the things that we pitched to them was, if you go straight ahead and downstairs, was what if the bottom half was under the lake?
See, I saw the entrance to this, and this whirlpool was used before in Somerset, wasn't it?
Yes.
Not the door I just came through, the whirlpool.
Yes, yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, we did that in...
This is a question I was going to save until the end. So I'll probably save it. You carry on talking about the underground stuff, and I'll ask when we get towards the end of it.
Yeah. We asked the artists if they could put together an underground an underwater portion, and they came up with this cool thing that's got anemones and fish and bubbles. And if you enter housing editing mode, you can actually put your own furnishings under there. So you create these cool dioramas of whatever you want to show in there.
In the water?
In the water, yeah.
Wait.
You can't swim in there because we don't have underwater swimming. But yeah, if you switch to editor mode, you can actually place furniture in there. So you put anything in there you want to. Yeah, this is really cool idea. I'm really glad they did that.
That's pretty awesome. It looks good from where I'm standing. I didn't realize you could put stuff in it as well.
Yeah, it's just a cool idea. And then if you go to the south wall, which is probably what you were asking about, you'll see there's a whirlpool that's up on its end.
I will do. I'm just in a load screen.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. I've got to go in again. It's because I bought it.
Bought it? Yeah, you want to see the full furnished thing? Yeah, I'm looking at the furnished version. I think they both turned out pretty awesome, but yeah, did a really cool job with it.
Oh my god. You can put things in the actual wall. I know you said it, but I'm doing it.
That's what I said. It's just so satisfying. It's just such a cool idea.
I made flames underwater, just so you know.
Hey, they're mystical flames.
Look,
They are.
You can see a magic window.
Okay, let's go to the whirlpool.
Yeah, if you go to the south wall, you'll see there's a whirlpool. You can click in it, and then you end up in an inner courtyard that is still part of your house. This is just a giant area. And actually, when we originally pitched the house to the housing team, we said, wouldn't it be cool if this was the entrance to your house? And, well, they didn't feel that it should be the only entrance. They definitely.
That is incredibly cool.
Yeah, it's just such a neat idea, and it makes sense. I mean, you're an Argonian, or you're in an Argonian world, I should say. I'm an Argonian.
How big is this pool?
It's freaking gigantic.
It is massive. This is just for Argonian racing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you could put your Mundus stones or your crafting or whatever. I mean, it's just a gigantic house.
The interior actually has 3 levels. We just really showed you one of them.
And then, much like the Dell, if you go to the, like in my case, I'm outside and I'm going to the east, I'm looking at the top of the waterfall where I could see the house from in the zone. So I can see the opposite side, so it's a really nice kind of reveal. So similarly, if I go out the front door, I end up in that part that the zone story would reveal. So
yeah, since you bought the house, I think you. Sorry about that. Since you bought the house, I think that if you go out the door now, yeah, you actually come out at the top of these long stairs, and then if you run down, you'll be in an area of the Deep Mire, which is part of Region 3, that you'll run by as part of the main quest.
So, and then as a segue, since we're looking at housing, we have a new house furnishing, which is music boxes. They're these cool ornate music boxes that you can place in your house and turn on and off, and they play the ESO themed music that you've heard from a number of our other DLCs, only in kind of plink music box style. I think they turned out really cool, and we'll be releasing more of them. You'll get them from the Crown Store, from bundles, and source various bits in game. And then the last thing, which is small, but I am super happy about it, you can finally reorder your characters on the character select screen.
Yes. But do you know how big that is for some people?
It's huge. I have deleted my character before. I did it like 4 years ago, just so he could be at the top. Now of course I have played, like my 6th other character now. So yeah, I'll be able to swap the one that's my main at the moment.
Aren't furnishings able to be grouped now as well?
Oh yes, that is correct.
But
yeah, that will be
multiple groups and make them all the same group.
I believe so. I haven't played with that as much.
Yeah, that's really more of a Crown Store thing. We're not as connected with that.
It's really useful, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when people have like bookshelves and they get all the Mages Guild books and all that kind of stuff. They've made them all look really, really nice. Spent hours and hours doing it, and now they want to move to a new house, and you've got to pick them all up individually, or to a new location. You've got to move them all.
Exactly.
Whereas now you can just group the whole thing, just move all at once. Which is pretty cool.
Big quality of life feature. So those are most of the toys we wanted to show off. Is there any questions that you had?
Right. First of all, we have some demands.
All right, let's hear.
We need the
I got
football.
my pen.
We need the football memento.
Okay.
What was the second one I asked earlier? We need spears.
Spear fighting.
Since the Clockwork dev tour, I'm still waiting for my mammoth mount, and I don't have it.
You want the full one or the pocket one?
But are you allowed to talk? What are you allowed to answer? Is it base game stuff in terms of balances, or more about the content itself?
Well, we're more the content.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we-
the whirlpool, that's the main thing I was going to ask above all concerning content,
Sure.
which you probably can't answer, but you might be able to hint at it. It's been used twice now, once in Somerset and once in the house. With that being...
Oh, we used it in Vardenfell too, I
you
think.
may have done, actually.
And
With
correct.
it being something that is possible and that these underground temples underwater could be a thing, have you any plans in the future to expand on that in terms of the rest of the world? Like some lakes that we just go past every day that are a bit deep. You could spot some of these locations with those for underwater delves or dungeons or even trials or content or anything like that. Have you thought about expanding it, or can you not?
So, I can say there are currently no plans for that, but that actually came up multiple times during development of this zone. Because again, it makes sense. Argonians are water people, so that was one of the things that we discussed several times. So I like the idea. At the moment, there's no plans to expand things out, but that's definitely something that might happen in the future.
Yeah, because I know obviously the map of Tamriel is absolutely enormous. You've got the mainland, and then you've got the outer ring where you've got loads of space for expansion. Plus, of course, you've got dungeons and delves and stuff which take up no real estate at all. You just have a little instance on the map. It looks like something of this.
Oops, I'm sorry, Michael. 1 second.
Yep.
Sorry, he's dealing with something.
No, it's okay. But where I was going with basically, it looks like
That's fine.
that could be an extra instance for other stuff. Like instead of just overland dungeons or whatever, you could have more underground stuff.
No, that is
sense.
a very good point. And as we expand into the base game, we expand more and more. We're looking for more little bolt holes, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
yes, you can expect to see things like that in the future, but there's no plan to expand it en masse, I should say.
That's pretty cool. I'm happy with that as a response.
Cool.
I'll take it as you're not
great
allowed to
idea.
tell me.
I'm happy to do that. Anything else, man? We got 2 minutes, and we're gonna get pushed from the room.
You're gonna get pushed out of the room. No,
Yeah.
you're good. As far as it stands, no, I'm pretty happy with how you've answered that. The rest of the questions would be balance based, and we'll save those for another time.
Sure.
That
Well,
sounds
also,
great.
if there's something you need for your article, you can send questions to Johnny, and he can follow up with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just ping them over, and then we can find someone to answer them.
Perfect. Okay, well, this was awesome. Thank you both very, very much indeed for this. Hugely appreciated.
Thank you. I'm glad you seem to enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. But if I have any other questions, then sure, I'll send them over.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Thanks, man. It's always a pleasure.
Right.
Cheers.
Well, thank you very much. I'll speak to
Thanks,
you guys
ever
again
so.
soon.
Chat soon.
Sounds
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Peggy 18.
This swamp is full of secrets, buried in the mud, entombed within the ruins, concealed beneath the roots. Murkmire does not give up its secrets easily, outsider. The worthy find what they seek. The unworthy find only death.